Well, President Biden jetted off to Delaware for a 4-day beach trip this past weekend after giving his first one-on-one interview in months. This is why New York Post columnist Michael Goodwin penned a new op-ed today called "Joe Biden Has Nothing to Offer." He writes this, quote, "We have a president who doesn't even pretend to be working night and day to beat back inflation and save the economy from a recession. He looks to be on automatic pilot when the nation desperately needs strong leadership." Joining us right now is the man himself, Michael Goodwin. He is also a Fox News contributor. Michael, great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. Unfortunately, all the things that you write about today are hitting America's pocketbook and really affecting lives. Tell us more.
Good morning, Maria. Yeah, look, I think every president runs into problems. It goes with the turf. But with Joe Biden, you never get a change of gears. And I referenced the Associated Press interview that he did last week, the first one in 4 months that he did a solo interview other than with late-night comedians. And so here was an opportunity to reset the nation's view of him. I mean, his polls are at 38, 39% approval everywhere. Even in New York, it's 35%, which is amazing. And yet he has this interview, 30 minutes, and he basically says nothing. He makes no news. The big takeaway is that he doesn't think recession is inevitable. That's it. Yeah. I mean, there's no sense that I'm going to change course. I'm going to shift gears. We're going to do something different. I mean, that would be the proper use of an exclusive interview like this by the president. But he doesn't do that. It's the same Joe Biden blaming Putin, blaming Trump, blaming everybody but himself. Even when he falls off the bike, he blames the pedals.
That's right.
So there's always somebody else. And here he is, the president of the United States. Yeah, the president of the United States looks weak, and I think that's his problem, is that people look to him for answers. He doesn't have any, and so they look away. And so I think he's running out of time, certainly before the midterms, to give people another reason to trust him on this inflation issue.
And that's what business is saying. I spoke with Ken Langone the other day, and he said, you know, it's time for him to belly up to the bar and admit this one's on me. With all of the spending, beginning with the COVID relief package, passed into law back in March of 2021, and the inflation timeline says it all. But the other thing are the lies, Michael. I mean, you know, he just spews out falsities. I mean, James Freeman is out with an op-ed basically saying that he keeps telling us he's doing everything that he can to get gasoline prices lower, James, but he actually does the opposite.
Yeah, making it more and more expensive to use fossil fuels, consume fossil fuels, produce them. Michael, I do have a question, and your column is a must-read. But if, as you said, he has not had a policy turn, isn't it good that he spends more time at the beach? I mean, ideally, until he's going to stop seeking a tax increase, until he's going to stop trying to get some portion of Build Back Better enacted, don't we want him to be at the Delaware House all the time? I mean, what about a long summer, sort of European-style vacation for him? 6 weeks, 8 weeks, I don't know.
So on the theory that he can do no more harm, look, that may be the best we can hope for, but he is president. He still has an awesome amount of power at his disposal to make things different. And I don't know how, frankly, James, you know, any president seeing this kind of impact on people's lives, that inflation is causing families, the baby formula shortage, et cetera, where he doesn't stay up nights, where he doesn't really throw himself into the fight. I mean, there's something missing here. There's a lack of compassion, if not just a lack of ideas.
Yeah, was this a Freudian slip by White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre, revealing that the president's true intentions on gasoline prices is a transition? Watch this.
The president has been very clear in making sure that he does everything that he can to alleviate the pain that American families are feeling when it comes to gas prices.
Well, there you have it. She said elevate first. Biden is expected to announce a gas tax holiday later today, Michael. The national average for regular gasoline is now $4.95 a gallon. Is this gas tax holiday going to do anything?
In the short term, minor at best. But again, think of this now, Maria, that this idea has been talked about for months. Some of the states have already done this. You know, if you want to blame this on Russia, the invasion was in February. So why are we now, at the end of June, deciding to do a gas tax holiday, a temporary one? I mean, there are a lot of issues like this where you get the sense that Biden is just dithering, that they float the idea that he's considering it, and he's considering it, he's considering it, and then it disappears.
Well, is somebody else running the country? I mean, is Ron Klain running the country? Is, you know, Susan Rice? I mean,
I think that's an open question, honestly.
Yeah.
A lot of people think it's Barack Obama's third term.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got a lot of Obama people in there.
Yes, you do.
But clearly there's a lack of a central command structure that is responding in good, timely fashion.
Michael, do you think Biden's going to last out this term?
You know, Steve, it's very hard to say that. I mean, I look at him, the way he moves, that fall last weekend. It's hard to see how he continues for another 2.5 years. And I think the midterms will be a very significant factor in what the Democratic Party demands from him.
yeah, I'm sure you're right. Michael, you got to come back here soon. Thanks very much. Love having you here. Michael Goodwin, The New York Post. Thank you, sir.